You know the feeling, that hollow silence that echoes in your chest when you realize someone didn't love you. They loved the version of you that made them feel safe, seen, or superior. And the moment that version cracks, the moment your soul leaks through the mask, they vanish. This is the truth no one wants to speak. You will never be loved for who you really are. Not because you're unworthy, but because almost no one has the courage to love something, or someone, they can't control. They want to love what fits their mold. They want to love the mirror, not the man. The fantasy, not the flaws. The comfort, not the chaos. And what lives at the center of you, your raw, honest, wounded self, is chaos. Not in the sense of being reckless or broken, but in the deeper, more threatening sense. It cannot be predicted. It cannot be tamed. It cannot be packaged neatly and sold back as a brand. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this before most ever would. He knew that being truly yourself, fully, unapologetically, terrifyingly yourself, was a form of existential rebellion. And like all rebels, you are met not with celebration, but exile. This exile, it doesn't always look like isolation. It can be subtle. It can wear the face of passive disinterest, of ghosting, of vague discomfort when your truth enters a room. It can be the soft withdrawal of people who once praised you when you pleased them, but recoil the moment you assert a boundary or reveal a darker truth about yourself. And every time it happens, a part of you wonders, is it me? Am I too much, too intense, too strange? But the question isn't whether you're too much. The real question is, too much for what? Too much for whom? Because the deeper truth is this: you were never meant to be digested. You were meant to be witnessed. But witnessing is rare. It requires presence, courage, stillness, the kind of spiritual maturity that most people never even attempt to develop. So you hide, you perform, you become a caricature of yourself, a safer, softer version. You say the right things, smile at the right moments, you shrink. And with every moment of shrinking, a part of your soul rots quietly in the dark. But you know this. You've lived it. You've felt the difference between being seen and being useful. And you've learned, probably the hard way, that most love is conditional. They say, just be yourself. But what they really mean is, be the self I want you to be, the one that doesn't make me uncomfortable, the one that agrees with me, the one that fits inside the story I've written about you. And so you do, for a while. Because you crave connection, because you want love, because your nervous system, shaped by 1,000 small traumas, learned that adaptation equals survival. But then it happens, a rupture, a crack in the performance. You speak a truth that's too raw. You show a wound that hasn't healed. You stop performing, and the room gets cold. Suddenly, they don't laugh the same. They don't reply as quickly. They begin to fade, not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Fear of what's real, fear of what can't be molded, fear of your depth, your pain, your complexity. This is the price of authenticity. This is the cost of peeling back the layers. Nietzsche called it becoming who you are, but he never promised it would be painless. In fact, he warned us. Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Übermensch, a rope over an abyss. That abyss, it's you, the parts of you you've never shown, the rage you suppress, the grief you carry, the longing that goes unspoken, the parts you believe would make others run if they truly saw them. You think you need to fix these parts, that you must be healed before being loved. But what if that's the lie? What if the healing is the loving? What if the only way out is through? Shadow work begins here, in the dark, uncomfortable places you've tried to ignore. It begins when you stop looking for someone to love you back to life, and start witnessing yourself with the intensity you've always offered others. This is what they don't teach you in school. That love, true transformational love, is not a gift someone else gives you. It's a confrontation, a decision, a war. And the first battlefield is always within. You carry wounds you can't name, abandonments you normalized, traumas disguised as personalities. You've mistaken survival tactics for identity. You think you're quiet, but really you're afraid to be judged. You think you're agreeable, but really you fear being abandoned. You think you're independent, but really you never learned to trust anyone enough to lean on them. And every time someone gets too close, you recoil, because love feels like risk, because honesty feels like exposure, because the real you, beneath the mask, beneath the silence, is starved for touch, but terrified of being touched. It's not your fault. You were shaped by a world that taught you to hide, a culture that worships appearances and punishes vulnerability, where being too emotional is an insult, and crying is weakness. But weakness is not crying. Weakness is lying to yourself. Weakness is pretending to be okay, so others don't have to be uncomfortable. Weakness is abandoning yourself for approval that never fills the void. And yet, we all do it. We all betray ourselves, a little at a time, but not forever. Eventually, something breaks. The performance gets too heavy, the silence too loud, the loneliness too sharp, and you begin to feel it, that quiet pull back to yourself. It starts with a whisper, "I miss me." And once you hear that voice, you can't unhear it. It drags you into your body, into your history, into the grief you've been avoiding for years. And it demands something radical, that you stay, that you sit with the discomfort, that you stop blaming others and start facing yourself. This is not easy, this is not pretty, but it is real. Nietzsche spoke of eternal recurrence, the idea that you must live your life as if you'd live it over and over again for eternity. So ask yourself, if you had to live this life on repeat, would you still hide? Would you still beg for love that demands your silence? Would you still play the role of acceptable instead of becoming free? Or would you burn it all down? Your false identity, your people-pleasing, your compulsive need to be needed. Would you finally say, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," and let the chips fall? You think you'll end up alone, but the truth is, you already are. You've just distracted yourself from the emptiness, with work, with scrolling, with validation, with lovers who never really saw you. But alone is not the enemy. Alone is the door. Alone is where you meet your shadow and realize it was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to be integrated. It was screaming for your love, your presence, your acceptance. And the moment you give it that, you begin to change. You soften, but not in a weak way, in a sacred way, a way that makes you unshakable, because you're no longer trying to be loved. You are love, a full spectrum being, capable of rage and tenderness, chaos and clarity, wounds and wisdom. You no longer need to be chosen, because you've already chosen yourself. And now you attract differently. You no longer seek rescuers. You no longer seek saviors. You no longer hand your worth to anyone who smiles in your direction, because you know the cost. You know that every time you abandon yourself to be loved, it is not love. It is a transaction, and your soul is the currency. But not anymore. Now, you choose truth, even if it means walking alone, even if it means being misunderstood, even if it means fewer likes, fewer friends, fewer lovers, because you are not here to be consumed. You are here to be real, and real in this world is rare, is sacred, is revolutionary. So no, you may never be loved for who you really are, at least not by the many, but by the few, by the brave, by the ones who have faced their own shadows and learned to see. They will find you. And when they do, it won't be love that saves you. It will be love that recognizes you. And that is everything.